Respectfully. Yo, what's going on? This is Aurie Styla. Respectfully podcast with Aurie Styla. Thank you for tuning in for another episode again with me. It's been a great week. Last week was a bit down with all the news that we were seeing. This week is a lot better, it seems. I'm feeling good. I hope you guys are feeling great too. Shout out to the sponsors for this episode, which is nobody. If you'd like to be a sponsor, please hit me up because, yo, this takes time, effort, money, energy, all sorts to get this popping. I love doing it. I love entertaining people, but you know what? At some point, I'm going to have to be able to go. And it's brought to you by, right now, that's not the time that it is. If you want to be that person, hit me up. If you have something that you would like to sponsor with, you know what I mean? Anyway, I'm not even begging for sponsors. It is what it is. You hit me up if you want to. If not, we're still going to keep it going and keep it popping. How has your week been? My week has been a really fun one, an interesting one. How did my week start? From last week, the episode came out on a Wednesday, so you wouldn't know that I was able to jump onto a friend's podcast on the Wednesday. Shout out to my guy, Mr. Midas. You'll see that drop in when it drops. Also, shout out to my guy, Mr. Midas. He also is now working for, and I think he's an editor now at PC Gamer. He announced that today, I believe. Wow, why am I coughing so much? Excuse me, then. Let me take a swig of this water, people. I'm so sorry. Shout out to Mr. Midas, who is now an editor at PC Gamer. He announced that today, actually. Today being the day that I'm recording the podcast, not the day that you hear it when it's dropped. So I did that. That was fun. I spent the weekend in Brighton. Now, this is another interesting thing that happened on Wednesday when the episode dropped. There was already talks about the riots based on what we discussed in last week's podcast, and they had scheduled riots to happen on the Wednesday when the episode dropped. So obviously I couldn't talk about what was going to happen or, you know, what had happened on the day that you may have heard this episode. I went to Brighton on Friday. 2 days after, there was an apparent riot or protest, rather, I should say, that was going to obviously turn into a riot due to the people that were going to protest in Brighton. And long story short, where they had announced they were going to have a riot down there, only 6 people turned up. And there was 6 of them from one side against everybody else in Brighton going, don't bring your negativity and xenophobia to Brighton. Can you imagine seeing 6 people trying to go up against crowds of hundreds telling them, get out, we don't want your kind here. If you're going to be xenophobic, we are a loving, open and liberal kind of people and you're bringing your negativity to us. It was a long day for them, man. It was a long day for them, man. So yeah, that was interesting. So I went to Brighton to do some comedy at Comedia. Shout out to the team at Comedia on Friday and Saturday. I got to make jokes about that on stage. If you go to my Instagram, you'll see the clip that I put up regarding what had happened. And yeah, I had a great time down there. The train coming back up to where I live. Oh, I didn't drive down there. I took a direct train from where I live. You can get there. So rather than trying to find parking and driving down to Brighton, and if you know Brighton, there's nowhere to park. Train down and then train back up. Here's the problem. The train coming back up stopped somewhere like another half an hour, 45-minute drive from where I needed to get to. It was a long late night train. It was already over 2 hours. I had to get off, take a late night bus. Got onto the bus. Everybody's tired. I think there were a group of girls. And shout out to these girls. I don't know who you are, but they recognized me for my comedy. And I was tired. It was like 2 a.m. I had my headphones on and they were on some it's after the party vibes, drunk, loud. Oh my God, is that you? Tell us a joke on the bus on this replacement bus. I weren't doing it, but shout out to you. Thank you for saying hello. You weren't going to get no comedy from me on the bus. I was tired. So if you ever hear this, my apologies for the energy. What else happened as well? On the Sunday, shout out to 3 fantastic people from the Rated 18 podcast, and that is my brother Kane Brown, my brother Christopher Savage, and I want to say my uncle Percy, the 3 hosts of the Rated 18 podcast. They had a live show this Sunday just gone at Leicester Square Theatre, and I not only performed at the show, I was a guest on the podcast. It was phenomenal. What a day, what a night, rather, I should say. That whole show was hilarious. Shout out to the team at Rated 18 Podcast. They are doing fantastically. If you don't know, it's a podcast where 2 guys that you get to see and 1 that you don't get to see, which is Uncle Percy. They just shoot the breeze and have a whole laugh and a whole bunch of jokes. Kane being as rowdy as he is. Savage being as, he's kind of the middleman between Percy and Kane, but Savage also being the reckless, loud laughter guy that he is. And then you also have Uncle Percy, the hidden face. You never see him or what he looks like, but he's everybody's favorite uncle. Their dynamic is fantastic. They have some real diehard fans. Their fans come in abundance in that place, and it's so impressive to see. I'm watching the crowd like shouting at them at this podcast, this live podcast show, and they're shouting out references from the podcast episodes that they've listened to. They managed to sell out these two live shows they did, the Sunday gone and the Sunday before, in a matter of like hours. They have some diehard fans, and their fans are loyal and they are interactive. Thank you guys for having me down on the podcast. It was a great episode. I can't wait to hear it when it comes out. And for those who came to the live episode as well to see it, big shout out to you. Keep supporting that podcast. Tune into them. It's called Rated 18 Podcast. Check them out as well. I saw my mum on Monday. That was really nice. I'm going away in a few days. So for me to catch up with my mum and chill for a little bit while, like, before I get out of the country was top tier for me. Nice little catch up. Obviously, I talk to her all the time on the phone, but to sit down, have a meal, shoot the breeze with my mum. Yeah, I wanted to record a pod episode with her, but I couldn't do it on the Monday. I'd already been working and recording, and then we were behind the time with other things I'm not allowed to announce yet. But one day I'm going to bring her on the podcast. She is a wretch when she's ready, an amazing wretch. But you can see where I get my sometimes argumentative, or also sometimes deep, and she would say funny side of me. The cheeky side is probably what I'm going to say. She's great, man. Big up my mum. Love you to bits, man. Oh, my gosh. Do you know what? For anybody that doesn't know your body needs maintenance, I'm telling you this now, your body needs maintenance. And I don't mean just going to the gym, and I don't mean just eating well. I mean go and get physiotherapy. I normally go physiotherapy once every 3 weeks to a month because my knee is, even though I'm not that old, my knee is starting to let me know that if you don't take care of it now, you're going to get there. Like, I'm a big set guy. I'm heavy. I'm also not that tall. I'm average height for a guy. Well, I'm a bit taller than that, actually, taller than average. But nonetheless, sturdy. I'm not built like a long distance runner, but yeah, I like to try and run to keep the weight down. I'm not built with like somebody who can just throw his legs around easy, because the shock that my body puts to my legs and my knees is crazy. But I'm a roller skater. If you look at the back over there, you can see the skates, some limited edition skates that I got here by Flanners and Dr. Dre. There's only 220 of them made. Only 220 of them made in the world. But yeah, I'm a skater. I've been a skater since I was a kid. I used to do triple and long jump. I used to do a lot of sports, which you got to be mad careful for the impact it has on your body. Anyway, my knees are telling me, brother, we're done. Cool it, no, man. And that's why I have to do physiotherapy. I went physio for the first time in longer than my regulated time period because I've just been busy. I've also not wanted to, like, I'll be honest, I wanted to save a little money and stretch it out until I needed to, and thought I could just literally stretch out my body. But nah, I got to a point where I said, you know what, Aurie, you're good, man. Just go pay for this physio for a good hour session. And shout out to my physiotherapist, whose name I will not say, but I will say to the company that they are, Back and Body Clinic. They are amazing. I went there to get everything that needed to get clicked out. I think there's a pause in there somewhere, but it needed sorting out. So my knee, my leg and my back and my neck, I am ready to go away when I go away. But yeah, go get yourself checked out if you need physiotherapy, ladies and gentlemen. Anyway, that's my week catch up. I got my notes right here. What are we going to discuss? What's Aurie going to explain today? Yo, listen, can I just say I'm the man? I am the man. I'm the man. And the reason I'm saying that is not because I said it, it's because other people have said it. Particularly one person who I mentioned last week had been released from prison, rather. Vybz Kartel was released from prison. I talked about that last week. What happened this week was insane. For those who don't know, I did a comedy clip talking about if Vybz Kartel is in prison and how he makes his music. It was a bit of a joke about, the style of how he makes his music whilst he's inside. For those who don't know, you don't have a studio in jail, so you can't, I keep saying prison. Sorry, I keep saying jail. For those who don't know, you don't have a studio in prison, so you can't make music the way that you would do if you were outside of prison. I said that what he would have to do is try and record quietly on his phone and then look out for the warden, plus other things that I said about him in his comedy clip. Shout out to Vybz Kartel. He had seen that clip last year and reposted it, I assume, from a phone that somebody else had, because he's not allowed to have it. So I'm not going to be here snitching and saying, but he reposted it on his social media. And initially I thought, oh, this is big. He's posting up my comedy about him. And I didn't know if it was really him until he did an interview when he came out of prison this week. In this interview, he sat down with the interviewer called Anthony from, I think it's Entertainment Now in Jamaica. I got to find the right page for it. I believe it's Entertainment Now. He sat down in this interview and he talked about what he would do in prison whilst he had to keep his mind right. And the guy said, like, how would you be in there, like, making music, and what is it you'd be doing? He goes, well, it has to be music that I have to make because I can't bake or anything. And he started chuckling. Then he said, it's like the comedian said, if I wanted to make music, I need to be able to talk into the mic and then peep around to see if there's anybody else that's going to come and catch me myself. And I woke up to about 50 or 60 messages of people going, Aurie Styla, Vybz Kartel referenced your comedy and talked about, and mentioned you and your comedy in a clip that he had done for a TV interview in Jamaica. And I woke up and I was like, no way. I felt so proud. I can't even lie. I felt like the man. Now, I'll tell you what I did. I watched the clip. I put it up on my Instagram. If you want to see it for yourself, go to my Instagram at Aurie Styla, AURIESTYLA. If you're watching this video, it's somewhere in the caption somewhere, if you didn't hear me say that. I watched the clip, and do you know what really took me? Forget who it is that was, you know, the person talking about my comedy. It's the laugh that he did, recapping it, talking about it and mentioning it back. When he spoke about the comedy clip, he was laughing whilst reiterating it back to the interviewer. And that, for me, blew my mind. And for two reasons. One, he was saying it to the interviewer as if the interviewer's seen this, so I know he's seen it. I can talk about it, which made me feel good to think that this is kind of something that's stuck with the culture, even if it's for only a short period of time. And two, he was genuinely chuckling and laughing. And I tell you, comedians obviously do what they do to make people laugh. But when you get that laugh from somebody who, in the times that he was going through, was probably found it difficult to find ways to laugh, you're in prison. Knowing that you were able to make somebody laugh when they're in prison, for whatever reason they're in there, be it guilty or not guilty, just knowing you're able to do that during someone's hard times in that sense is a achievement in itself. It's almost like when you go to a club and you see someone sitting in the audience and you want to make them laugh and they have the hardest face in there, or they're going through the worst situation that you're aware of, and you're able to lift their spirits. Then they come up to you afterwards and go, you know what, I had a hard time, but that really lifted my spirits up. I felt so proud in that moment to know I was capable of doing that. And I just want to say big up to anybody that watched the clip, that shared it, that maybe have got it to him somehow, or it made it so popular that he saw it. Thank you very much. I'm the man. I'm going to hold on to that right now. Boom, boom, boom. I'm not going to drop no sound effects or bombs. Just know I'm the guy. All right. Can we talk quickly about the Olympics? Not in detail like we've done it before. I don't want to go into the huge recapping of the Olympics. I don't want to go through all of the listings of who won and who did what. I want to go to one particular element of the Olympics. Let's talk about breakdancing. B-boying or B-breaking, they're calling it now. Let's talk about breakdancing at the Olympics. I don't know if anybody had seen a breakdancer out there who goes by the name of Rachel Louise Gunn, aka RayGun, as she is known in the competitive sport of break dancing. She went to the 2024 Olympics in Paris, the first time ever that they have listed break dancing as an Olympic sport that you can compete in. She went there and qualified to be a representative of Australia, I believe, for the field of break dancing. Now, when I watched some of the breakdancing clips that I'd seen of other people breakdancing, it was phenomenal seeing some of the talent from all over the world, absolutely killing it on the floor. Hip hop has influenced so many different nations in so many different ways. So even though breakdancing comes from the culture of hip hop, it's evolved when it's gone around the world by other people adding their different styles to it, different cultures adding certain elements to it. Ladies and gentlemen, Rachel Gunn, aka RayGun, is not one of those people that can get that accreditation. When she went up, I don't know if somebody must have seen this. She went up and she was proud. She had this kind of this posture where she's like, watch what I'm about to do. It was absolutely terrible. Ladies and gentlemen, Rachel Gunn went onto the went onto the breakdancing platform, and she did what I can only describe as what a kid does when they go, "Mom, Dad, look at me." And then you look at them, and whatever that thing is they're about to do, the jump and the spin or the roll on the floor, the kid's about 7, the jump and the spin on the roll on the floor, whatever that is that they do is exactly what it had looked like. Now, this caused a lot of controversy because if you could imagine, breakdancing it's the first time it's been introduced into the Olympics. So everybody who's in the breakdancing industry wants to make a huge impression. But this RayGun who competed really embarrassed the sport for a lot of people. I'll read you the headline that I got in front of me right now. This is one of the headlines for the Paris Olympics. Aussies, that's people from Australia if you don't know, lash out after learning their tax dollars have been paying for RayGun's bizarre university breakdancing studies. This is an absolute disgrace. Now, how painful that is to hear, knowing that somebody competed on your own dime and they absolutely embarrassed your country. Anyhow, she did a routine which was crazy. I'm going back and forth with this. I'm going to try and describe the routine. It can only be described, like I said, as a kid who jumps around doing like moves when they say, "Hey, mommy, look at me." And they do stuff that you think you wasted my 10 seconds with that. She started doing like these weird laying on the floor, roll arounds, these kangaroo hops as well. No one can really describe it. Headlines like this one will kind of give you an idea. I can't put the clip up in the video. I wish I could. And obviously, if it's audio, you're going to have to go look it up for yourself because it's an audio. You can't see breakdancing by audio. But I can't put the clip up. The clip belongs obviously to the Olympics. But I will describe how it was. I'll read to you how it was described. Olympics fans mortified for Australian breakdancer RayGun after toe curling performance during the sport's debut at Paris 2024, as it's revealed the athlete is a lecturer specializing in the cultural politics of break dancing. That is her field, the cultural politics of break dancing. This is Rachel Louise Gunn, 36 years old, has a PhD in cultural politics of the arts, particularly in breakdancing, and then is teaching this to other people in Australia. Let me tell you something, ladies and gentlemen. If you ever see the video clips of her dancing, I'm sure most of you have, it went absolutely viral and people were mocking the dance moves. Let's be 100% clear. It wasn't great. Like, she went viral as she awkwardly squirmed on the dance floor with her hand on her chin to end what was an already confusing and chaotic routine. These are the words that I've read as I'm reading them off the newspaper article. The video was taken from her face-off against France's, I believe this is pronounced Sissy, S-Y-S-S-Y, Sissy, or Sissy, in the second of 3 qualifying matches on Friday afternoon, and the Australian ultimately scored no points against her 3 rivals. No points. There is a picture I'm looking at. There is a picture I'm looking at. Everybody's been taking this picture and memeing it all over social media, where she's in this weird kind of like T-Rex, because the arms are short. T-Rex kind of moving position. And the judges in the back there's 5 faces. The first face is, what is this going on? The second face is, I'm screening this right now as a 0. The third face is a woman who looks like she's about to burst out laughing. The other 2 faces are just looking at each other confused. Fans shared so much of their thoughts on her breakdancing. I so want to read some of these tweets of what people had said. Let me see if I can find some, because these tweets were hilarious. Like one tweet said, RayGun, I'm sure you're a sweet lady, but man, this is dire. And that is true. Let's see some more of these tweets. Most relevant, most recent. The video got taken off, saying you can't see the video anymore. Again, people are taking this down because the clip obviously belongs to the Olympics. They are quite militantly taking down many clips of things that have been reshared. Go and find it if you can. I'm sure if you find it on one of the social media platforms, you will. It is terrible. Now, my breakdown of this, when I saw this, I read that she has this PhD in, I'll read it correctly, it is in PhD in cultural studies, right? I obviously looked at it and I kind of laughed and I said PhD in cultural appropriation studies. And the reason I say that is because it's almost like you took your idea of what breakdancing is and you made it your own thing. And then you're reteaching it to other people to then change the authenticity of breakdancing into what you think it should be. And then you go and compete in the Olympics with your idea of what breakdancing is. And sadly, it is not good. It's terrible. It's diabolical. So you've gone and done this and then expect people to credit you on what it is that you're doing, as opposed to maybe looking at yourself going, maybe I'm not good at this and I shouldn't do it. She's also married to, let me find his name. She's married to Samuel Free, who is also a fellow breakdancer. I would love to see what his breakdancing capabilities are. Oh, this is where I see it. Before learning breakdancing, Gunn practiced jazz, tap, and ballroom dancing and competed in the latter. So she competed as a ballroom dancer. Her boyfriend, later husband, had been breakdancing for 10 years and encouraged her to try it. She began breakdancing in the early 2010s when she was in her mid-20s. Gunn paused competing while finishing her PhD and returned to competitions in 2018. Rachel, go back to the PhD. You didn't have to return. Believe me, it was full. It was already done. You didn't have to worry about coming back. But the fact that she has a PhD in cultural, I'm going to try and be really delicate with this. Okay. I attacked it already, but I'm going to try and be really delicate in this. Often we find in many different parts of the world, I'm going to say the Western world, there are demos of people that try to adopt things that are of a cultural significance to cultures outside of their own Western cultures. Like you get the person that goes, oh, I traveled for a year around the world and they spent a lot of time in Africa. So what they do is they bring the idea of African kind of tribal and cultural totems and ideologies back to the Western world and go, well, I'm clued up on these cultures because I've spent time in these countries. The problem is a lot of these cultures that you bring back are from your purview. You're not raised within that to know what it means to be a part of the tribes that you are emulating when you come back home and try to teach tribal ideologies to other people, even if it's just more so as a cultural, political form of expression. I don't know why that thumbs up came up, but it just did. Here's my thing. You do that from a perspective of somebody who's an outsider. You still have to have a deep respect for the craft and the art that it is that you're doing. It sounds like she almost created a field for herself where she goes, well, this is what breakdancing is to me and to my close circle. And I'm going to go and compete with it. And you need to accept it for what it is based on my perspective. Here's the problem. It isn't good, one. And two, not only is it not good, everybody else who is in there, it's kind of a disrespect to them who have really given time and effort to master the art form of the field. You've gone in and readjusted it to suit your needs. And then you also then say, but I have a PhD in cultural studies. This is highly problematic. Cultural studies is something that is theorized and theses are created based upon the outsider's perception of the culture. Yes, there is academia that you can stick to that and say, yeah, well, we have gone and studied and taken time and maybe gone to the root of, where these places are to get people who are of those cultures to teach us the real, gravity of these cultures. But if you go there and then you come back and then create a thesis around yourself, and then you try to push that onto everybody else and say, well, this is what breakdancing is. Now that's the appropriation side of this. And that's what it felt like when there were people trying to justify and they're like her inability to be able to compete to the level that everybody else who has actually practiced breakdancing to the level that is at an Olympic level, I guess. It's the first year, so it's hard to know what Olympic level is. Like, you're trying to then be defensive and criticize because, all right, this is what's happened after this. I'll read this so you all can see. It's on her Wikipedia page. The fact she has one. Anyway, at the 2024 Summer Olympics, Gunn did not receive any points from the judges and was knocked out at the round-robin stage. After her performance was ridiculed on social media, she shared a quote on Instagram: "Don't be afraid to be different. Go out there and represent yourself. You never know where it's going to take you." Do you see what I'm saying? represent yourself. You can do that as long as you still do it within the constraints of it looking like breakdancing and not looking like you are kangaroo hopping and doing all sorts of, I don't know, kid tantrums with a smiley face on the floor. That's what it looked like. Competing against USA, France, and Lithuania, she also stated that she could not compete athletically with her younger rivals, explaining in an interview afterwards, I was never going to beat these girls on what they do best. The dynamic and the power moves, I'll say it again. I was never going to beat these girls at what they do best, the dynamic and the power moves. So I wanted to move differently, be artistic and creative. I was always the underdog and wanted to make my mark in a different way. Here's the problem. It is breakdancing. If you know you cannot compete, don't waste people's time competing in the Olympics. And then when you then are ridiculed, you then look like the fool because you're not breakdancing. Anyway, in response to the mockery, Team Australia Chef de Mission, or Chief de Mission, Anna Mears, issued a statement in support of Gun, condemning what Mears called trolls and keyboard warriors. Here's the issue. You competed internationally, worldwide, to represent a country. When people have an opinion, are we really trolls or keyboard warriors based on what we've seen? It's not keyboard warriorism or trolling. If the judges gave you 0, like, come on, man. We're doing too much to protect this person's feelings when really and truly somebody should have checked her at the beginning and said, yo, hey, RayGun, holster it. You're not qualified for this. You look stupid. We're not trying to be trolls. We're just being honest. You are not good at the sport. Everybody could see that. Everybody laughed. Who kangaroo hops and calls it breakdancing? Where you are trying to force your idea of expression as to what breakdancing is and then telling us that we have to accept it is not really conforming to what the idea of breakdancing is. And do you know why people know that? Is we have examples of it that look good. So now we're not keyboard warriors. We're just telling the truth. And if we're keyboard warriors, forget the keyboard. The judges put up the 0 sign. 0. Rude boy, 0. Someone wanted to write -7, but legally they can't do that. 0. It's not us judging negatively. It's us seeing what we saw and going, rude boy, don't do that again. Or rude girl. Or RayGun, don't do that again. Anyway, head Olympic breaking judge Martin Gillian, aka Mjability, said that RayGun had done exactly what breaking is supposed to be about: originality and bringing something new to the table and representing your country or region, which she had done with her kangaroo hop. You're trolling. Nah, you're trolling. Head Olympic judge who gave her a 0 said, I'm going to say this again. Head Olympic judge who gave her a 0 said she came and did exactly what she was supposed to do and represent her country and region. That sounds like you're saying Australia should not be in the Olympics for breakdancing. That's what it sounds like. I don't think that's the case, but that's what it sounds like. Anyway, all we're saying is, RayGun, big up yourself for trying, but you basically Eddie the Eagled this. Is that a sentence? You basically Eddie the Eagled this. You entered probably as the underdog, knowing you wouldn't be able to be good enough to do this, but probably the best of the people that tried to qualify and get into the Olympics with that discipline, knowing that nobody else could. But there are 10-year-olds now that are looking at you for the wrong reason going, I can do this. Simone Biles inspired a generation of women to say, from all different ethnicities, to say, it doesn't matter where you're from or what you look like, you can do this. Because gymnastics was traditionally a very Eastern European discipline. She's come into this, so is Jordan Childs come into this, and they are just showing you. So is how can I forget her name again? Rebecca D'Angelo. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna get in trouble for that. Anyway, the Brazilian who came second and first in one of the disciplines. They've shown you can be from anywhere and do gymnastics. That's what they did. They said, we are great. We can show you that it doesn't matter where you're from, you can do this. There are 10-year-olds now that are looking at the breakdancing with the same idea for different reasons. They're looking, going, RayGun is terrible. I can do better than that. I can join the Olympics. But here's now where it gets even worse. LA is where the Olympics are going to be in 2028. I'm going to try and get out to there if I can. They're not doing breakdancing. Everybody is stipulating, saying it's because of how embarrassing it was for RayGun. It weren't that. We know that Olympics can change which disciplines do and do not get accepted as a discipline for particular Olympics. But I do believe if there wasn't so much flack with RayGun, and if there was more like positivity shined on breakdancing, then people may have gone, you know what, we need this to be a thing at 2028 Olympics in LA, because you're going to get loads of people that breakdance in LA. Loads of people that understand the culture, and loads of people that are going to say RayGun don't come back. Either way, it's not going to happen, because it's not going to happen. So she has now entered, and she has made a mark on the Olympics, and for Australia as being the worst breakdancer to ever enter the Olympics ever. That's where she is right now, unless somebody else comes in 2032 when we do Olympics, wherever it's going to be then. Good luck to them, and God bless her. We're not warriors behind keyboards. We're just people that saw what the judges saw. They were behind keyboards and they said you were trash. Anyhow, let's move on swiftly. What we got next? Okay, so Banksy keeps getting his art graffitied over. Now, here's an interesting one. For those who don't know, Banksy is a anonymous, I want to say, graffiti artist who's known for popping up all around the UK and taking elements of urban areas and graffitiing them with certain designs that add to the area. So there could be a picture of, there could be a tree somewhere which is in front of a building, and he'll paint on the building like somebody holding like a balloon string, and the balloon string will go to where the top of the tree is. So it looks like from a different perspective, there is a someone holding a balloon, and the balloon is the end of the tree. He's had a run recently where he's done loads of artwork around London. Now, let's get it 100% clear. It's all anonymous, and he is a graffiti artist. He's been graffitiing pictures all around London, and it's all animal-based. He's done a police booth with like a tank full of fish. He's done, there was a rhino climbing an abandoned car. He's done so many different pictures around, which is like an animal. He did a wolf on it was a satellite dish, and it looks like a wolf howling at the moon. He's very artistic and very talented in what he does. They've been vandalized, and I'm going to put vandalized in inverted commas. They've been vandalized because people have seen this art, and then they've gone and added their extra graffiti on top of it. Now, there are many people going, this is diabolical, this is disgusting. People are vandalizing the artist. Here's my question, and there might be someone who can answer this. Is it vandalizing graffiti if you yourself are basically graffitiing anonymously some of these buildings and places around the country? Now, Banksy's name holds weight. Don't get it twisted. So if he graffitis somewhere, there's more than likely it's going to become a destination spot for tourists who want to see Banksy art. And also it's going to put, you know, that area on the map for those who are enthusiasts for art. Here's the problem. Why is it okay for him to be a graffiti artist and, you know, get away with doing that anonymously, where there are people that then will graffiti on top of it, but then they are seen as vandalizing? There might be an answer to this. I don't know. You can let me know if you know what the answer is, but I think it's not fair to call anybody who vandalizes what effectively is vandalism, vandals. You can call them that, actually, but you have to also call that to Banksy. You can't give him a free pass unless there is a reason. Does he call and get permission? But I think if he did, it would be considered as anonymous mystery art, which is what he is known for. So that's the question. Is it vandalizing for both of them? Or if Banksy gets a bly, does the person who graffitis on top of Banksy's art also get a bly? You guys let me know. I don't know the legislation around that, but I'm sure there's an answer to that. But yeah, in Peckham on Rye Lane, I saw one of them taking the dish down from the top of the roof. It was the one with the wolf howling at the moon, and the dish looks like the moon. They took the dish from off the top of the roof, and they obviously ran off with it in broad daylight, and no one said anything. My question is, who's the person that is now not got Sky? Because your dish is gone. I'd be vexed, not because of someone taking the art, but yo, I'm trying to watch Sky Sports, and you just took down my dish for what? Teeth in a wolf on a moon? Yeah, Banksy's art might go for money. Probably hard to sell if people know that it's stolen, but nonetheless, yo, what about my Nickelodeon? And I'm trying to watch Sky Sports and 5 USA. Well, you can get that on freebie, but you know what I'm saying? Nah, you lot are taking liberties. Whoever owns that dish, I feel it for you. I'm so sorry. That's a disrespect. But it seems like the question still stands. Is Banksy a graffiti artist and then should be called, you know, someone who's vandalizing wherever he's doing his art? And if so, then why are we criminalizing the people that graffiti over his art, but not pulling him up for the stuff that he does? I'm not saying I want like anyone to get arrested or anything. I'm not that guy. Man ain't a snitch and that. But I'm saying, why Banksy get away with stuff, but everybody else who's doing what he's doing don't get away with it? You know what I'm saying? You get me? Anyway, big up to the Banksy art that's been going out there. It all does look good. Yeah. Anyhow, I ain't really been watching anything this week to talk about. I kind of want to give you some stuff that like is on the playback and stuff that I can review. But to be fair, I've been hella busy. I'm going away for a couple of weeks. I'll be working abroad. I fly from when this is recorded. No, better yet, from when this drops, I fly the next day. So I won't be in the studio. However, I still will be doing the podcast. I actually bought an interesting bit of equipment. I'm not showing you. You lot don't need to see what it is that I got here, but it's going to allow me to do my video in and my audio podcast on the go. To be fair, there's loads of equipment that you can use, but my one specifically, I'm gassed to try out. As soon as I finish recording this, I am going to be trying this out to see how it works in the studio and thus outside of the studio. I'm really actually excited for this. But yeah, I'll be doing the podcast on the go where I am traveling. It's actually going to be interesting. One of them, maybe one. I'll try to do both maybe. No, I'll try and do one in one area and one in another area. I don't want to give away too much. I want you lot to see it for yourself when it actually happens. But yeah, the podcast will still drop on the days that it drops. I will be in a different location from this beautiful studio of mine. Can I just say, I'm super proud. Look at the studio now with the lights in the background and the big 36 Wu-Tang. I love that in the background. We really are piecing this together. Shout out to everybody that's like, look, that messaged me saying this place looks dope. I really appreciate you. My mum, when she came in and saw it, she said, you know, it finally feels like it's finished. Because I've been working at rebuilding the studio several times over. Now it finally feels like it's piecing itself together in the way that it should do accordingly. So thank you. Excuse me. I don't know why I keep coughing. What's going on with me? Probably just talking too much. I did a couple of, that's a slip. I was about to say something I'm not allowed to say. Let's just say something's coming. Podcast based that I'm not allowed to talk about, which I did a couple today. Anyway, let me wrap this up, ladies and gentlemen. This is not a super long one, but yeah, I do want to say, if you want to find me in any way or form or fashion, follow my social media. But on top of that, please do subscribe. Those who are listening to this on an audio platform, please go to my YouTube and subscribe there. Reason being, I'm putting up a lot of clips on there for you to watch. So many people go to me, Aurie, want to see you do some comedy. 9 times out of 10, I'm like, well, come and see me live. Comedy is the best when you absorb it in an environment where it's a comedy club, where comedy is meant to be. But if you can't catch that, I will give clips out. That's a real thing. I give little 1 minute, 2 minute clips. I will do a few longer ones as well, but I'm not doing the whole... Some people say, just put up the whole 25 minutes. Nah, rude boy, you can come and see that when I come to a city near you. And I will. I travel around the world to do this. When I get closer to you, then you can come and see me live. But until then, you're not seeing a whole clip. That just makes no sense. But make sure you do catch my YouTube channel, Aurie Styla. I believe it's Aurie Styla TV or Aurie Styla. It's one of them. I'm so straight up with it. You know, I'm not super professional. I'm going to try and be more often. It's Aurie Styla. Make sure you subscribe to that. There is more and more and more stuff that drops every other day. I think 3 or 4 videos drop a week there now. Shorts, long form videos, podcast episodes, clips, etc. Make sure you get yourself on there and subscribe to that. Follow me on all social media platforms. And the Aurator tour is kicking back off in September. From September the 5th onwards, I'll be touring all around Europe with the Comedy Stop team. Shout out to the team at Comedy Stop. I'm looking forward to doing that. I will let you know again where I'm going to be. I've said it in previous videos, but I'm going to say it again right now for anyone who's from any of these places. In September, I'll be in Oslo, Copenhagen, Aalborg, Prague, Helsinki, Paris, Haarlem, the one in the Netherlands, not in New York, Stockholm, and Cork. And then we come back to the UK in October. And in October, I will be in Cambridge, Brighton, Leamington Spa, Slough, Chester, Birmingham, Southampton, Chelmsford, Bedford, Peterborough, Fareham, Exeter, Bristol, York, Leicester, London, Belfast, Luton, another London show, Colchester, Manchester, and another Manchester show. The shows have been selling out, people. Maidenhead, another Bedford show, another Birmingham show, and a big finale London show at the O2 Forum in Kentish Town. Make sure you get your tickets from auriestyla.co.uk to like secure your spaces. They'll sell out. If they sell out, you don't hit me up in my messages. Yo, there's any tickets. People do that all the time. I'll block you. That's all it is. Don't come to me with the, oh yeah, man, I tried to get tickets. I didn't think it was going to sell out. What kind of disrespect is that? When people do that, it gets on my nerves, you know. People will, do you know what? Little rant. People will, like, how do I start this rant? People will hit me up saying, oh, I want to come and see your show. I put a show on. They don't come to the show. Fine. Later on, they see that I've sold out a show. Not the same people. It could be different ones. They see that I've sold out a show, and then when they hit me up and go, yo, brother, listen, I see your show sold out. Have you got any tickets? Don't ask me stupid questions. How are you going to ask me, your show is sold out, have you got any tickets? For who? For who? It's sold out. Where are you going to sit? In the sky, in the chandelier? It's sold out. Stop asking these questions. Comedians hate these questions now. I'm telling you this right now. Comedians cannot stand when people ask them, is it sold out? Could you sort me out tickets? When the only reason you're asking me is because you are waiting to see if it would sell out, and then you're expected to like go, yeah, I want to go to this because it's going to seem like a vibe. Don't do that. Get your tickets, support, so we can keep putting on more shows. Don't be the person that goes, it's sold out. Can you then sort me out the ticket for the show that's there? No, we don't work that way. That's my rant. I might do that rant again so I could just put a clip up of it on Instagram separately. It gets on my nerves, man. It grinds my gear. It really does. Anyway, let me wrap up this episode. Guys, thank you for listening into the Respectfully podcast with Aurie Styla. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, follow on social media, get your tickets for the tours, and I will see you soon. We are out of here. Peace.